Hey, what up, everybody? This is Steve Bridge coming to you. Are you ready, 49er fans? This is going to be our year. 2014 is looking on the ups and ups. San Francisco 49ers on the offseason, they went out and they made a lot of good moves. They brought in a lot of good players to fill out this roster. Everybody knows that we're moving towards our final goal of winning that Super Bowl. Basically, I think that honestly, if you look at our team, we have a great team to put that out there on the field. I know that there are some off-season problems that have to kick off this video. Basically, with our defensive line, our offenses and our defensive lines have been two of our strongest points of this football team for the last few years. Defensive line, I think most people already all know about. The offensive line, basically was one of our, sort of quiet secrets. We went out into the draft a few years ago. We drafted 2 offensive linemen in the first round with the first picks of the draft. Sort of always when you pick offensive linemen, it's sort of a quiet pick. People talk about them at first, and then you just have to sort of see how these guys play out. But building a great offensive line to protect Kaepernick and protect Gore and whoever the running back of the future is going to be was an awesome situation. Basically, we had the problem with the holdout. We were able to get him signed. He's going to be one of the highest paid linemen to be out there. As long as he can protect Kaepernick and protect Gore, I'm all for it. Having a sit out where you basically sit out all the whole off-season workouts and all the preseason games. Who knows? He wouldn't even have played in those preseason games that much. But I think it becomes a little bit of a sideshow. Everybody talking about him every day. Where is this guy at? And of course, we're talking about Alex Boone, but just, I just want to see this guy play. I'm hoping that we don't have a situation where it's going to have to take him a few games to get into, shape. And if you get a few games into, being who he was before, because he hasn't been doing the things. But hopefully he's been doing some sort of an off-season workout somewhere. He was able to pass his physical, so that is good to say that he's able to get in there. When you talk about this team in the off-season, the things that you're going to think about missing the most are going to be our off-season departures on defense. Basically, we had Dante Whitner leave us. He went to Cleveland. Carlos Rogers left us. He went to Oakland. And then we also lost one of our other cornerbacks as well. We lost his name is Terrell Brown. Went to the Raiders as well. Basically, that's a lot for us to go out and try to replace. Eric Reed last year was a great pickup from LSU. I thought the way that he played safety really helped us out. I know that we had picked up the dude from the Rams to take that job, and basically we didn't even need him. I know that he filled in for us when Reed had his concussion in one of the games, and I know he did some kickoff duty for us and things like that, but Reed was a really, really huge pickup. I think that we're definitely going to have some problems in that backfield. It's definitely going to be one of our biggest questions as of right now, seeing what we're going to be doing to replace this and get this back together. When it comes to the San Francisco 49ers, though, offense is what really has put us on the board. We need to score points. We need to get the ball moving. Colin Kaepernick is our quarterback. He is our quarterback. He got the big extension. He's going to be here for a good amount of time. One big problem with Colin Kaepernick is it seems like once he gets the ball and he sets back, it's almost like when he's sitting in the huddle, he draws up one play. I'm going to throw it to this one guy. And if that play falls apart, he does have the ability to run. I know that a lot of people out there really love talking about his feet work, how much he likes to run. Me as a fan, I close my eyes every time this guy runs. It's not that I'm scared about him getting hit or getting hurt. It just seems like, they always will emphasize on SportsCenter and on the highlights, how well this guy does in certain situations when one play works. But when you see this game go over and over again, it just, a little bit weird. It's just like when you watch all the games and you see how it really works out. The only thing I can really relate it to is, and I have to take it to basketball for a second, is that when I was a fan of the Sacramento Kings, and basically being on the East Coast, being a fan of a West Coast team, I didn't get to see them that much. And We had a point guard named Jason Williams, really flashy guy. Had a Nike commercial. He came out of Florida, did the behind the back passes through the legs sort of things. He was always on SportsCenter in the top 10 plays at the end of the night. But I went to go see the Kings play in Atlanta when they came to town one time, and to actually see this guy's stat line, where basically he did make those passes, he did make those plays. He ended up with like 4 or 5 assists on the night, but he had 12 turnovers. And it was like, if you're throwing the ball behind your back and you're not even hitting the guy, what's the point of doing it? Basically, we built this team to basically where we're going to be able to pass on any team in the NFL. We already had the building blocks of a great wide receivers corp. Last year, you got Michael Crabtree, you got Anquan Boldin, who came over from Baltimore. Quentin Patton was our rookie last year, and he was shaping up to seeing like he's going to be having a good spot on the team in the future. We went out and we signed Brandon Lloyd. I didn't hear much about him in the offseason, but this guy's big-time veteran. As long as you can get him on the field, he's always going to be able to be a threat to make a play somewhere down the road. And then, of course, Stevie Johnson basically came to us for free from the Buffalo Bills. Basically, we put those guys on the field anytime. You're going to be able to throw to any sort of guy. There's not going to be situations where they're going to be able to double down on Davis or double down on Boldin. Last year, when Crabtree got hurt in the offseason, we had the really big game against Green Bay. Anquan Boldin had over 300 yards receiving. He was running all over the place, and then basically we just got shut down. The passing game was non-existent. And, it took Crabtree to come back to even nearly start that passing game up again. We've always been a running team. We always really rely on Gore. It is a big-time a loss. 2 years in a row, they've taken this sort of like that backup running back guy that sort of did everything for us. Dixon, he left the 49ers. Where the fuck did Dixon go? Wherever he went, I think he was to Tennessee. I could be wrong, but no, Dixon went to Buffalo. Yeah, Dixon went to Buffalo. It was the guy before who went to Tennessee. But basically, I always loved Dixon. Dixon was the guy that could catch the ball coming out of the backfield. Dixon was the guy that was able to run and hit those slots. And, he wasn't the main guy in the backfield, but he always made a play. When it was 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8, that pass to Dixon, he was always going to be able to square up and get that first down. And that's what I really, really loved about the guy. But we got Gore back there. James really showed himself in the offseason. He's the guy who's going to be able to take that job from Gore. Hyde is the guy that put up a fight in order to get it. A lot of people are thinking that they like Hyde more than they like James, but that's a situation for next year. There's some people saying that basically this will be the last year of Frank Gore in San Francisco. Definitely not going to be the last year of Frank Gore's career, but the Niners will let him go. They'll put one of these guys back there. We basically have a backfield of college all-stars in the back. We've always been able to draft running backs well. We've always been able to draft linebackers well. And going over to linebackers is the situation, of course, with Bowman being down. Some people saying he'll be back. I think it was week 10 when the Seahawks come to San Francisco for the first time, that hopefully Bowman will be able to be on the field, and we'll see him for the first time out there. Patrick Willis has always been that guy that everybody knew was the best guy on the Niners defense, the guy that was the captain, the guy that held everything together quietly and very secretly. Bowman was the guy that held that defense together. Bowman was the best defensive player. He just didn't have that name value of everybody out there. Of course, everybody knows about him. He broke his leg on that big goal line stance out there, and has the big play, breaks his leg, and we don't even get the we don't even get the call on the play. Of course, everybody knows that the referees blew that call. We ended up getting the ball back 2 balls later when Marshawn Lynch fumbled the ball, and that gave us a chance to try and win that game. But everybody, always tries to make a big deal. If we would have had the ball 2 plays earlier, we'd have more time, and this, that, and the other. And you never know. We could have had more time and the ball in a different position. Kaepernick could have walked down the field and threw a pick on the first play. So, I think the situation that we got the ball was probably the best situation for us to get it. One way or another, we didn't win, and that's all it says. I don't know. Now, last year, the Niners were a 12-4 football team. I would love to be 12-4 again. I can remember the losses that we had last year. We got our asses kicked by the Colts. There's nothing you can say about that. We lost the game in Carolina where we couldn't do anything. They made us look like fools. That was a real stand-up game for Carolina where they were able to say that they were one of the best teams in the NFL, and it really made them a playoff picture team and a team to beat that was out there. I know we lost to Seattle, and then we lost... well, there wasn't another division game. We swept the Rams. We should have lost that last game in Arizona. But I can see us going that way again. I know that we had a real strong, real tough start to the season last year, where I really thought there was a chance that we could have gone 0-5, or at least came out of those 5 games with a losing record of 1-4, 2-4. You look at the record. Look at the way that the schedule is structured this year. It's not as bad as last year, but it's still going to be a tough road to hoe. Until we're able to beat Seattle on the road. What are you really going to be able to say? I mean, that's the one thing we got to do. I mean, we're a damn good football team. We can beat anybody in the NFL on any given day, but we just can't beat fucking Seattle at Seattle. It's a damn good football team. You can pray for rain. You can pray that they have injuries, but in order to say that you're the best team in the NFL, like I know the Niners have wanted to do, that's why they've built. That's why they built the team the way they have. But we got to beat that team. I can sit here all day long and just say that, but that's honestly the most important thing about the San Francisco 49er football season. If we don't beat Seattle on the road, there's no point. If we don't beat them on the road, there's probably no chance of us having a home playoff game, and we'll have to beat them on the road twice. So that is probably one of the most important games of the whole season. Beat Seattle at Seattle. Show them who we are. We beat them on the road. We beat them here in San Francisco. I can't talk a lot about their new home in Santa Clara because I haven't been to it. Honestly, as a 49er fan, I'm embarrassed to say more than likely the first time I will step foot into that stadium is when I go to WrestleMania 30. Or 31, I must say. I'm sorry. But prices are outrageous. It's a good little drive for me to get there. Someday we'll get there. Honestly, there was very few games that I went to the Candlestick for. I really think that you do need to see your team at home play football. I think it's always fun to root on your team. I do think that football very much is a TV sport. So I really do like watching the games at home more. But, that atmosphere is crazy. When you go and you spend all that money and you don't win, that sucks. I think the last time I went and saw a game was when the Niners still sucked. And I saw a game against the Rams, and the final score was 9-6, where we would have saw 5 field goals. And I know I saw Michael Crabtree score a touchdown, and that was good enough for me, even though there was a flag, and they called it back. But Crabtree stood up, and he caught the ball in coverage, and I was proud of him for that. And I really was hoping for him to break free, and this is probably the year that he is going to break free. Go Niners, let's win the big one, get it done.